All right. Hello again. I'm going to talk to you guys about creating an heirloom culture, and if it's okay if you're not familiar with that subject because I just made it up. So you guys are all familiar with heirlooms, right? These are the physical possessions that we pass down from generation to generation. Kind of gives us a superficial way of connecting with the past or producing our legacy into the future. And when you think of heirlooms, a lot of people think of things like fine china or expensive watches, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. Take the cast iron skillet. It's actually a really good example of an heirloom because it'll last you a lifetime as long as you take care of it. Now, one of the weird things about the cast iron skillet is that you're not supposed to wash it with soap. And the reason is that the soap removes the oil-based seasoning. And what that seasoning does is it absorbs the flavors of the dishes that you cook and then later imparts those flavors into other dishes. And if you think that sounds gross, here's my friend Bacon. There was my friend Bacon. So I think that I would like to take this concept of heirlooms attached to physical possessions and apply it on a broader, more cultural level. So I think a cast iron frying pan is actually a great way of doing that. So imagine everybody here in Lincoln is cooked in a cast iron frying pan, and all of our flavors mix together, and those flavors get absorbed into the community and later passed down to a future generation. So for example, if you're an entrepreneur and you have a good year and you make some extra money, you could take some of that money and invest it in the arts. As an artist, you have the unique ability to change the way we see change the way we see the world. So you might inspire someone like the farmer. And as a farmer, your produce goes on to ensure the well-being of a future generation and the health of the community in which you live. And if we've done everything right, maybe this kid will take his $5 and invest it into his own business and build upon what we have already established. So, how do you create an heirloom culture? Well, the first thing you have to do is own your culture. There's a psychological hypothesis known as the endowment effect, and that states that we attach more value to things that we own, and even if we haven't owned them for very long, and even insignificant things like a coffee cup. So just by owning your culture, then you're adding value to it. And really that's part of what makes heirlooms special is the history of ownership behind it. Something that's been passed down 5 generations has a lot more value than something that's been passed down once. The second thing that you want to do is participate in it, because by participating in your culture, that's the way you can shape and change and impart your flavor onto the culture. And so that's a really great way of doing it too. Everybody here up on stage tonight, they are participating in their culture. And I want to ask, how many of you guys saw Gods of the Prairie, the musical Choose Your Own Adventure that took place? It was the Colonel Mustard House, their former Ignite speakers. That's the kind of thing that's going to leave a mark. And speaking of leaving a mark, the third thing is to let go. Embrace the imperfections because they're what give you character. The fades in my jeans and the chip in my tooth aren't flaws because there are stories behind them. We don't want to get bogged down in an inferiority complex. I found this tweet from a Seattle designer, and I thought it was I was kind of shocked because he noticed. He's from Seattle, and he noticed that Lincoln does and doesn't give a crap. So everyone tweet at Dylan W. right now and thank him for his kind words. So those are the things that you need to do to create an heirloom culture. Own it, participate in it, and embrace the flaws where you can, and you can shape the future of can create a culture that's worthy of passing down to the next generation. Now, this really isn't a new idea. There's an old concept known as the melting pot, in which a world of cultures collided and became one, and that was known as America. But I think heirloom culture is a little bit different because it encourages you to build with your own unique experiences upon your past. So people will notice, and not just because our beer is half the price of their beer. There's also a lot of national outlets that are noticing what makes living in Lincoln so great. So, for example, USA Today said that we were most likely to weather the recession. A Gallup poll showed that we are leaders in financial well-being. Here's the velocipede in me. We are a newly crowned bike city and bike-friendly city, and we are also one of the oldest tree cities in the United States. So I love this quote from Gladiator in which Russell Crowe says, "What we do today flavors the future." I think that's what he said. So what do you guys think? Will you help me flavor Lincoln's future? All right. So together, We will create a culture that's worthy of passing down to the next community leaders. And one more round of applause for all the speakers who are coming up on stage, because they're really flavoring Lincoln's future too.